What is the most successful military unit or strategy in history? Trenches are probably up there. A properly entrenched unit can be incredibly hard to move, just see WWI and the current conflict in Ukraine. The pincer, classic maneuver seen in one form or another in any sort of combat. Lots of you guys play Sid Meier's Civilization. Zerg Hydralisks SC1 those bad boys can eliminate anything from a space marine to a battlecruiser. Human wave tactics. Works 60 of the time, every time. Be bigger than your enemy by several factors if possible. Works like 99 of the time. Would it not be threatening to drop nukes? Look at Russia RN, the only reason they haven't been obliterated by NATO is their threat of nukes. In terms of numbers lost on each side, nobody has ever had their asses kicked as bad as Iraq in the war in Kuwait. Big shout out to the 442nd Nisei, the ethnically Japanese US regiment that was the most heavily decorated unit in WW2. Their families were in internment camps and they still chose to fight valiantly for the country that hated them. It's got to be Admiral Yi and his approach to naval combat. Turtle ships were overpowered by the time period standards, but he was consistently able to obliterate the Japanese invasion forces from reaching mainland Korea, effectively winning what was thought to be an unwinnable war, all with a relatively tiny navy and some fishing boats. The strategy was simple. Don't get boarded by the Japanese who preferred hand-to-hand combat. Much easier said than done, but he was able to keep effective organization and leadership despite a widely spread naval force trying to split the Japanese force as much as possible, knowing they would always have a numerical advantage. It's basically like the Punic Wars if the Romans never invented boarding-gramming tactics to overcome the Carthaginian naval advantage. Bletchley Park. It makes a big difference when you know what the other side is doing. Hannibal's double envelopment comes to mind. Noted incident of a smaller force defeating a larger one on the open field. The Vietnamese Tet Offensive, effectively a mass insurgency like the airdrops at D-Day, offered enemies of the United States a political and strategic victory. Air superiority. Who knew firing your bow from horseback behind you at your pursuers would trip up so many people's Mongolians, probably. Alexander's tactic. Get a dozen of your super skilled friends on horses and sprint dead straight towards your enemy's king. Archers. No other unit type has nearly as long of a run in warfare. I don't know, but the phalanx formation has to be up there. Mount-behind infantry can be pretty powerful. When it was horses they were called dragoons, today they are called motorized infantry. Just the ability to move your infantry quickly to get into position and then fight on foot and powerful. RAF and FAA in WW2 preventing Germans from taking over England was a show of great military units and strategies. Battle of Britain was wild times. Battle of Agincourt. 5,500 approx English longbow archers against 20,000 approx French cavalry and knights. In one battle England lost 400 men, but the French 6,000. After a few more scraps with the French, Henry V was declared heir to the French throne and regent of France. Thermopylae and the 300 Spartans is a mostly true story of success against superior numbers. There was also a Greek unit called the 10,000 who were widely known and feared. The Mongolians, who rode horses and used compound bows, were a force to be reckoned with. I think the Romans were probably the best overall fighting army unit before the advent of gunpowder though. And after that, pick your favorite between Modern SEAL and Green Berets. The US military is most dangerous and effective fighting force the world has ever seen. Desert Shield opening into Desert Storm was pretty successful. The North Sentinel Island Defense Force, or whatever they call themselves, who knows. Active defense, shoot on sight and kill anyone who tries to land. By all accounts this has been going on for the last 10,000 years and they are still there, winning each and every encounter. Laugh all you want at their equipment and uniforms, but that's a record no other military on the planet can match. It sure as hell wasn't the Ruskies invading Ukraine. Putin thought it would take a week, 10 days tops. I don't know if it counts as strategy, but more men beat less men has been a founding principle of civilization as we know it, so it's pretty successful.